Yo guys, what is up? Max here in Diablo 4 video, and today we're talking about the best dungeon farm post nerf. I apologize for being annoying and putting out another XP farm, but a lot of people have been asking me what is the new best dungeon farm, and Blizzard did do a much better job at making the dungeons more well-rounded and giving a fair amount of XP. Between our highest dungeon that I've tested and our lowest is only about a 3 million XP farm difference. So it's not like drastically different where one dungeon is giving 20 mil XP and another one's giving 10 mil. So dungeons are more even. However, they are still not equal. And today I want to go over what the best dungeons are now to run for experience per hour. I hope you guys enjoy the video. We tested a ton of dungeons to make this video. So yeah, let's get right into it. So this is a top 3, but I've got 2 dungeons tied for 2nd place and 2 dungeons tied for 3rd place. Now, the dungeons tied for 3rd place are probably no stranger to. That is Champ's Demise and Iron Hold. Now, Iron Hold you can find in Howitzer. You can come down to the very, very bottom of the map. And then you'll find the ruins of Ratcat, the inner court, and Iron Hold is just to the right of that. Now, this dungeon is great because there is still massive elite packs of mobs. You still need to clear the beginning part of the dungeon. You got to go kill an enemy, have them drop their key. But once you make it to the second part of the dungeon, there is 2 big swarms of elites, and they're giving millions and millions of XP. I was averaging around 8.8 million experience running Iron Hold, and that'll fluctuate based on your speed by about 500,000 or so. The other dungeon that is at our 3rd place, tied for 3rd, getting about the same experience, is Champion's Demise. Now, I am so glad that this is no longer the best experience farm, simply because I'm tired of running it. Champion's Demise is still really great, and we'll be talking about it later in the video, but you can find that in Kyrgyzstan if you come over to the Jarandai waypoint. To the right of that is Champ's Demise. Now we get to our number 2 spots, and our number 2 spots are really, really interesting because they're actually located right next to old really good experience farms. So at our number 2 spot, we have Blind Burrows. Now, Blind Burrows is giving 9.3 million experience an hour, and it is located right next to what used to be the best farm, Eridu. Now, Eridu is only giving 7.6 million experience an hour. It is pretty much nerfed. It's quite heavily nerfed. However, it's still a bunch of experience to farm, especially if you're in a group, and it's next to Blind Burrows. Now, the reason I mention that is Blind Burrows, you can run, leave the dungeon, and then run Eridu, and then leave, and then run Blind. So you'll never have to save and quit. The dungeons will reset as soon as you complete another activity. So this is a really, really nice loop to do between the 2 of these. Now, this is our 2nd best loop. The better loop is actually over by Champ's Demise. Now, Champ's Demise was around 8.8 million experience an hour after the nerf. However, a better experience is right next to it, Charnel House. Now, Charnel House is giving me around 9.3 million experience an hour, and you can do Charnel's House, run this, and then go do Champ's Demise, and back and forth. Charnel's being a better experience farm than Champion's Demise, and if you want to just run this over and over again, you absolutely can. But if you want to avoid loading screens and saving and quitting and all that annoying stuff, you can literally just clear these back and forth, and you're going to be extremely efficient in your XP gains. At our number 1 spot, however, this is just a solo dungeon that you can run, save and quit, and then reset, is Older's Cave. Now, Older's Cave is in Kyrgyzstan. It has no boss. You basically just run through it, kill everything, and you'll just make your way through this dungeon. You'll complete it basically on accident, which will give you the XP for completing it, and it's very, very straightforward. It's a great solo dungeon to run, and it was giving me 10 million experience an hour running this versus the other 2nd best farms, which were around 9.3 million experience an hour. Now, if you want to avoid loading screens and saving and quitting and leaving, Older's is probably not your best bet. I would still recommend the Charnel's Champ's Demise rotation. However, if you're looking for a single best XP dungeon just to run, to blast, Older's Cave is it. Now, one thing to note is these were all tested solo. Older's Cave is pretty narrow, so it's not as great for splitting up into a group. All of this was tested solo. If you're going to do groups, I think Blind Burrows and Champ's Demise are still pretty great. But in terms of the amount of XP that you can grab in a efficient amount of time as a solo player, Older's Cave is definitely the number 1 spot right now. in case you were curious, these were all of the dungeons that we ran in order to make this video. We ran Mercy's Reach, which is around 7.2 mil experience an hour, Iron Hold 8.8, the Golran Canals, which was 7.9, Blind Burrow was 9.3 mil, Anika's Claim was still 7.8. That was the same as I tested it last time. Champs is 8.8. This was about 1.2 million experience less than it was last time. Charnel's House, 9.3 mil experience. The one thing that's weird with Charnel's is like you can run the base of it and then save quit, and you can do it really, really fast in about a minute and 30 seconds. So it's going to be a lot more saving and quitting, but it is very, very efficient. Alder's Cave with 10 mil an hour, Eridu with 7.6. Eridu is down from, I think, around like 22 million experience an hour to 7.6. It got absolutely butchered. Now, before I end the video, just one thing I want to say is hopefully they don't change these dungeons anymore. I think Blizzard is kind of missing the mark right now on these changes to these dungeons and XP farms. The big issue right now is that Nightmare dungeons don't give enough experience, and if they just made Nightmare dungeons give more experience, then that would be the activity to run. People are just blasting easy Nightmare or easy dungeons because they give so much good XP. One thing that they could do is change the XP values that the elites give in Nightmare dungeons to boost them up. There is currently not much of a reason to run Nightmare dungeons, which is definitely soiling the endgame for some players. So hopefully, if they see this video, they'll know that please, please, please buff Nightmare dungeons, make them more worthwhile, give them XP value bonuses, and then players will shift over to Nightmare dungeons, hopefully. Guys, that is going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Peace.